if you have a lot of people following you on your Twitter or Facebook or something like that, you might run into this problem. You make a post and then somebody says, well, I want to know about all the qualifications, or could you explain all this to me? What's the background of this? Or could you please substantiate your argument? I need to know every bit of it. How do you decide where you need to and where you don't really need to? It's difficult because what if there's somebody who is just pestering you all the time? Or what if it's a random stranger, you don't know who they are? What if they have like 10 followers and clearly they're an anonymous account and they just go around pestering people? If that's happening, then do you really owe that person an answer? But who do you owe an answer to? So let me tell you about how I answer that. Well, if I make a claim about somebody's reputation, or the kind of claim that is factual, like this happened, and somebody asks me to substantiate it, I don't mind doing a quick Google search or pulling up a screenshot or something, because that's the kind of thing that, how are they going to know what the information is unless somebody shows it to them? Whereas if it's more of a philosophical matter, like it's on the topic of, is God self-interested? I'm not going to go into a huge argument right there in that moment. I can point them to my podcast, but I'm not going to lay out a 5-paragraph essay in order to substantiate some foundational issue. Don't have to do that. I also take into account, do I know the person? If I know the person, then, like, let's say I said I like this political candidate, and somebody says, could you elaborate on why? And I know that person, well, then I might elaborate. But let's say they give me one of those one-off, like, well, you didn't know he said this, did you? Well, I don't have to interact with that. Or if they say, demonstrate why he's the best. That's the kind of thing that you could make like a 3-second effort to ask that question. You could say, demonstrate why he's the best. Now, for me to do that, I'd have to spend 5 minutes or more. It's just not reasonable if you have thousands of followers to spend all that time answering all those questions. So then you have to have in your mind categories of who's someone to respond to and who's not, and why. What kind of questions, what kind of people are worth responding to. And it's okay that everybody draws that line in a certain spot. Don't take offense by it. Now, if somebody is engaging with you over and over and you've had some kind of rapport with them, and then they ask, hey, could we go further with this? Could we get on video or a phone call, or could we do a private message? That's the kind of thing that I would take seriously, because they are taking you seriously. But if somebody is clearly not taking you seriously and they're just there to make your life more difficult, you can simply say to them, I think you're playing the fool. I think you're making my life more difficult. I don't really know how seriously you're taking this. You can say that. It's okay. And you don't have to say, I know that you are not taking it seriously. I know that you are a troll. But you could say, I don't know if you're a troll or if you're taking this seriously. And that'll be objective, because you really don't. And if they want to provide information, if they want to show that they respect you, that they take the conversation seriously, well, then they can. And so that's how I would approach that. I know it's not a popular approach. I mean, after all, I've blocked probably 4,000 people on total between my Twitter and my Facebook. And it's just because I don't want to see the notifications. There are certain people that I just don't want to hear what they have to say because they're that gross or that irrational. And I kind of don't mind them knowing it. Not trying to be mean, but I don't mind them knowing that they're outside of the realm of what I think is rational debate. And that's really what I'm showing when I block somebody, is I don't want you to be involved in these public discussions, because I'm trying to create an environment here for better people. That's okay. You don't have to be afraid of having standards, and you don't have to be afraid of appearing one way or another. Like, oh, that guy is so sensitive, so thin-skinned, he just blocks people. Really? Maybe I'm attentive to what I think the difference is between quality and non-quality. And I want to create an experience for other people, long range. And certain people are going to be able to pass that test. Certain people will not. Am I testy? Absolutely. Judge. Prepare to be judged. So on social media, I recommend have some kind of approach, especially as you get more followers, to how to protect your own mindset, because you don't want to get into this back and forth where now I've answered 3 of their questions and they've commented 3 more times. And then all of a sudden, you feel like you're obligated. Careful not to obligate yourself. If somebody acts like you're obligated, simply say to them, when did I obligate myself? If somebody acts that way to me, I just block them immediately. I go, hey, you're acting like I owe you something. I don't need you. Like, that's going to be the kind of approach that I take right off the bat. Or, I think you're playing the fool here. I really do. And tell people that. It's not a problem. Like, it's social media, because we are people and we are engaging with each other socially. And if there are people that you don't want to invite to your party, don't invite them. The world would be better off if more people had standards and acted as if those standards mattered.